Hey, what's up everybody? It is DaYDreaMz. Welcome back to the channel for another video here in Revenge of Sultans. And guys, these are some of my favorite videos to make, is where not only I can teach you some things that I know from the years I've been playing these mobile war games, but a chance for you guys to show me some things as well. So, let's go ahead and talk about the troops here in Revenge of Sultans. So, before we get into any kind of layering or marching order, let's talk about the troop types in this game. So, there are 4 buildings with 2 troop types in each building. Let's start with the infantry troops. So guys, you're going to have an offensive and defensive based troop in each building. Now that doesn't mean that they're purely offensive or purely defensive. It just means that their stats lean towards one or the other. Like the defensive troops tend to have more health, and then the offensive troops tend to have more attack. So this is the first one. This is the swordsman. So you've got the Arabian swordsman, the T7 guard, so you got the T10, and the T7 and the T6. I'll just start from T6 up because that's when you should be doing most of your fighting. Okay, the next one here in the barracks is the pikeman or halberdier, and you can see that they're the offensive. So you got the swordsman, which is the T10, T7, which is defensive, then halberdier, which is offensive, and the elite spearman and the T5 senior spearman. All right, let's go to the cavalry. So if you look at the T10. This is the heavy camel line here. These are your defensive troops. And then the Mameluke horse archers are your offensive troops. They are a ranged archer. So they're an archer on horseback. You can see here the T8, that is another heavy camel. And then the T7 is another camel archer. Let's go and do the archers next. So you can see here, now the T10, this is your defensive archer, same as the T8, the royal archer. And if you click on these, you can see that their attack range is 5, and that the long range bowmen are range of 8. So these are the ones that protect your bowmen, and that's going to be like your T10, your T8, and your T6. Your T9 and your T7, those are your ranged, like, crossbowmen or longbowmen. They're the ones that are going to have the 8 range, and they have the higher attack. But don't be fooled, they generally have the higher attack, but they have less defense and less HP. You can see here that the short bow with the level 5 range have really high HP and attack range. So you can see the two here. Wait a second here. That's actually really interesting. The royal bowmen, the long bowmen actually have more HP. That's very interesting. See, that's why I like to learn new things, because in every other game I've ever played, the short bowmen have the HP, and then the long bowmen have the attack and the range. So it's a little different on these. Yeah, you can see that the short bow actually have more attack and everything. So that's very, very, very interesting. So the T9 have pretty good defense as well. The only difference is the range really on these. So that's very interesting. So that's the only difference I've seen from every other game that I've played so far. Let's take a look at the cannons. So the 2 troop types here are the cannons, and then the T9, which are the siege towers, or the chariots. So let's go ahead and look at the T10 cannon, the T8 tall bombard, and the T7 bombard. So these are just cannons on wheels. You can see they have an attack range of 10. Now let's go to the demolisher tower. You can see it has an attack range of 1. That's your defensive troop. This is your offensive troop. Now you can see the defense on this. The offensive troop, attack 205, defense 24. Now look at the demolished tower. 45 defense and only 120 attack. But look at the HP, 470. And then look at the HP on the cannon, 246. That's how it is on all these other troops. The archers are the only ones that are flip-flopped. So that's something that's very interesting, and that could play into effect when you're doing your layering with these troops. So, one thing I do want to point out, guys, is that the cannons in this game, as well as Rise of the Kings, which they're made by the same creators, 1MT, the cannons in these games are king. They're like the strongest troops in the game. That's why everybody mass builds T8 cannons. Alright, so we've looked at all of them. Let's go ahead and look at the siege tower real quick. So the T9 siege tower and the T6 chariot are the same thing, as well as the T4 demolishing drill. And then the stone thrower Even though it don't look like the cannons, it is a cannon. You can see it has the 10 range, just like the cannons. Alright, now that we've went over the different troop types and everything, let's go ahead and talk about the order in which they march. So, the first thing in the line are the guards, or the swordsmen. The Arabian swordsman and your T7 guard. These are like your beefy, defensive, high HP troops. Look at this. The T7 have 367 HP. 615 on the double 10. So those are what you're going to put in front to tank for the rest of your troops. So, basically, here's how I like to equate it. Would you rather lose 5,000 T10 Arabian swordsmen in a big battle? Would you rather lose 5,000 Arabian swordsmen or 20,000 T10 cannon? Because if you do not have those frontline troops, guys, your ranged troops will die because they have nothing protecting them. So they die very, very fast. So you have to have some meat shield up front. Here's where it gets tricky. Next in the layer, a lot of people would think it's halberdier, but it is actually something I don't use very often on offense because they are slow, clunky, and I feel like they do the same job as the swordsman, so I just use swordsman. But it's the Demolisher Tower or the Chariot. You can see it has very low range. It usually goes within the range, so they have a range of 1 as well. Okay, then next you have your Halberdier. You can see they have a range of 1 as well. And then after that, guys, it goes with your heavy camels like your T10s and your T8s. And then after that is your Horse Archer. So you can see they have a range of 4. Right there. Your Horse Archer are next. After your Horse Archer, guys, it's going to be your short bows, like your Royal Archer, and your Hakwati, which I know nothing about, but they have an attack range of 5. You can see it's 1 more than the cavalry, camel archers. Okay, after this is the Royal Bowman, guys. That's what marches next. You can see they have attack range of 8. That's the Royal Bowman or the T7 Bowman. And then, very last are your cannons. They have the longest range, then the highest attack, but they have a low health compared to their attack, so you're going to need all these other troops in front to tank and, you know, counter the other troops while your cannons destroy everything. So, this is why in my layers I have a large amount of cannons, but I do have every other troop tier in between. Now that we went over all that, guys, we're going to take up the specific skills of each troop type in the layer in order. So let's take a look at the swordsman. You can see there are high defense, high HP troops with a low range. They have great initial defense, great initial HP, and they counter enemy archers and bowmen, decreasing their damage dealt by both 10%. So basically, these are what you want up front to take the brunt of the force for the rest of your troops. Sorry about the dogs in the background, guys. If you're new here, my dogs, every time I start a video, they act up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next troop in the layer, and that is the Demolisher Tower. So let's go ahead and take a look here. You can see great initial load. They have a good troop load. These are like the T2. If you look down here, these are great for gathering resources. The T2 battering ram are the best troop in the game for gathering resources because they have a great troop load and they're cheap to heal. So adds a 10% defense during a city siege. So that's very good. Great initial defense and HP. You can see that that is actually similar to our swordsman or guard. You know, great initial defense and great initial HP. So that's why they're your frontline troops. They have the highest HP and defense in the game. They tank for the rest of your troops. Okay. Next in our layer, let's go take a look at the Halberdier. You can see these are your cavalry counter. Great initial attack damage, great initial critical strike, counters enemy cavalry, decreasing their damage dealt and increasing their damage taken by both by 10%. So that's a 20% buff against cavalry. These are very, very good against cavalry, guys. So they are important and do hold a place in the layer. Next, and remember, guys, I'm just showing the 2 troop types. Remember, if you do not have, like, for instance, the T9 Halberdier, the T8 Elite Spearman, or the T5 Senior Spearman, it's just plug and play. They're all the same, guys. There's only 8 troop types, 2 in each building. Remember that. So when I'm just showing the top 2, remember, you just go down until you see the stats match, and then you'll know which ones that they're the same ones, okay? Next, you have the defensive knight which is the heavy camels. You can see great initial marching speed. They're the fastest troop in the game. Increased dodge rate by 10%. Has a 20% chance of slaughtering long-range enemy troops. Guys, these are your counters for the long-range archer and for the cannons. So this is a very important troop, especially on defense. You're going to have a lot of these. And I love to put these in my offensive lair as well because they are the best thing for attacking the enemy cannon. Alright, next up, we've got the T9, and this is basically the camel archer. And you can see here that they have a great initial marching speed. And they have 15% attack damage during tile attacks. So guys, during a kill event especially, these are amazing to have in your lairs. Like anytime I'm attacking a tile, I'll up my usage of the camel archer or horse archer, T9 and T7. I'll up it by about 20%. So I'll take out a lot of my siege for tile hits. That way it's faster marches, quicker points. And I'll use a lot of these Mameluke horse archer. And you can see here has a 20% chance of slaughtering long-range enemy troops. So they're also good. They're also pretty good against the cannons and the long-range archer. So I definitely love those, especially on... I love the camel archer and horse archer. Same thing, T9, T7. I love them, especially on resource tile battles. Alright guys, next up we've got the short-range bowman. You can see attack range of 5. And you can see here, counters enemy spearmen, taking their damage up and increasing by 10%. So 20% buff against spearmen. So if you do not have these guys, if you do not have your short-ranged archer in your lair, then your enemy spearmen are going to get to kill your cavalry. So that means you have nothing to kill their cannons, which means they're just going to straight demolish you, in theory. So after that is the royal bowmen. They have great initial critical strike and great initial attack damage. Now these are a long-range archer, and basically they're not going to counter anything in specific. If anything, they would soften up like the siege tower and the infantry, but you can see here that they don't have anything special. So in my opinion, they're my least favorite troop in this game. So I'll only send like a couple thousand, just enough to soften up the front line, but I don't send a lot of them. And last but certainly not least, the most important troop in the game, the cannon. Adds 10% attack damage while laying siege to an enemy city. Now that's just when you're attacking a castle. That bonus is not on tile attacks, it's not during throne battles or events. It's only when you're attacking a city. That is why a lot of people send tons of these in rallies, because when you're attacking a city with a rally, you're going to get that 10% attack damage, and it's going to give you a huge bonus. Great initial attack damage, but poor attack speed. So they are very slow. That's why a lot of times when you're in big battles, they do very well because it's a longer battle. But when you're just doing if you're attacking a small amount of stuff, your cannons won't even get that many kills. It'll be your other troops that are doing a majority of the killing. So guys, that is the troop layering and the basic information for the troops in this game. Now, if you want to make a lair, I recommend putting about 50% of your the March cannon. And then I recommend about 10 to 15% of swordsman, about 5% halberdier. I like to go about 10% on the Royal Mameluke Trooper or the Knight or the Heavy Camel. And then maybe 5% Mameluke. If it is a tile hit though, you can go a little bit less on the infantry and about 20% less on cannons. And then add 20% more of these Mameluke. And then on Archer, I just put about 2k of this type of Archer. About 5k of that type of Archer. And guys, I don't put any of the Demolisher Tower in my lairs. I just save them for defense. They're a good defensive troop. They will help you on defense. Now, there might be some advanced tactics that I'm not aware of that make the Demolisher Tower really, really good. If you guys know of any, let me know in the comment section down below. But I personally just save them for defense and for gathering resources. If you put a March of Demolisher Tower in the Elite Mines when you go to sleep, you will get so many resources and you won't have to check it for like 12 hours. And like I said, guys, about 50% of your March should be cannon. Unless you're doing a tile hit, I would do about 30% of your March cannons and add more of the ranged cavalry archer. So that is it for my basic troop layering guide. If you guys have any tips or tricks, let me know. Let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button before you guys get out here as well. And I'll be coming out with some more videos this week. We're going to start making some moves here in the kingdom. I'm very close to Castle 26. I should be finishing that. You can see here inside. Let me go inside my castle. Oh, where is it? I'm about to do the walls. With my packs tonight, I'll be able to get the walls done. And then I'll speed the walls up and we'll finish this castle. So I'll get 26. The first thing I'm going to be making at 26, in case you're wondering, is the T9. Is probably going to be the T9 Halberdier. The T9 siege towers are not that great. They'll be the last ones I get. But then I'll also go and get these cavalry. I'll get the T9 Memluk Horse Archer. And then I'll probably go ahead and grab these T9 Royal Bowmen. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.